From the national newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo. Prime Minister Mark Carney told the media yesterday about a move Canada is planning for this September's UN General Assembly.
Canada intends to recognize the state of Palestine at the 80th.
The decision brings Ottawa into step with its allies in France and the UK, who have made similar statements. It also comes as starvation in Gaza is on the rise and the West Bank is seeing unchecked expansion. Israel's embassy in Ottawa has rejected the notion, saying it rewards Hamas for its deadly attack on October 7th, 2023, even though Carney has said the terror group can play no part in any steps forward. The Conservative Party of Canada also attacked the decision, as did U.S. President Donald Trump on social media, where he suggested that Ottawa's backing of Palestinian statehood would make it very hard for his administration to make a trade deal with Canada. Rob Westgate, The Canadian Press.
The clock is ticking down, and trade negotiations between Canada and the U.S. continue. But Prime Minister Carney says it is possible that talks may not conclude by President Donald Trump's deadline of tomorrow. Carney yesterday described the talks as complex, comprehensive, and constructive. He noted the president added new trade measures that could further hinder some Canadian businesses. In an executive order yesterday, Trump suspended so-called de minimis exemptions, which had allowed packages worth $800 or less to ship to the U.S. tariff-free. Ukrainian authorities say a Russian drone and missile attack on Ukraine's capital killed at least 7 people. A Kyiv official says at least 82 others were wounded in the attacks in the 9-story residential building. At least 25 people have been hospitalized in the U.S. after a Delta Airlines flight experienced heavy turbulence last night. The flight was headed from Salt Lake City, Utah to Amsterdam, but was diverted to Minneapolis. Passenger Leanne Clement Nash tells ABC News the plane shook violently multiple times.
If you didn't have your seatbelt on, everyone that didn't, they hit the ceiling and then they fell to the ground. And the carts also hit the ceiling.
The chair of the Alberni-Clayoquot Regional District in BC says there's room for improvement from all levels of government following Tuesday night's tsunami advisory across many Pacific Rim countries. The 8.8 magnitude earthquake that struck eastern Russia set off tsunami advisories that sent people fleeing to rooftops in Japan, snarled traffic in Hawaii, and drew caution along BC coastlines. John Jack in Port Alberni says there was much stress among residents over what could happen in the community that was hammered by a tsunami more than 60 years ago.
Being more specific can probably assuage some real fear and anxiety. And I think that was the theme of yesterday, that there was anxiety and fear over what could happen. And I think that state of not knowing is always worse than knowing what's coming.
And a new study says an average of 7 people in Canada die each year trying to save another person from drowning. Researchers say between 2010 through 2019, 74 people drowned after attempting a rescue in the water. Study co-author Tessa Clemens with the Life-Saving Society of Ontario says most of those rescuers did not have any life-saving training. She says it's important that untrained rescuers use a non-contact method, such as throwing a life jacket or a buoyant object the person can grab onto. This is the Canadian Press. In sports, Eugenie Bouchard delivered an epic performance and a heartfelt goodbye to her hometown crowd in her final pro tennis match. The former world number 5 pushed 17th seed Belinda Bencic to 3 sets, but ultimately lost in the second round at the National Bank Open in Montreal. Now she's retiring.
It's such a tough life of sacrifice and hard work, and I've given so much to tennis, and it's given me so much, but I do feel, ready to do other things in life.
The 31-year-old Bouchard has steadily moved on from tennis to pickleball, where she ranks 12th in women's singles. The Toronto Blue Jays have today off to enjoy their well-earned 9-8 victory yesterday over the Orioles. To avoid getting swept in their 4-game series in Baltimore, the Jays will welcome the Kansas City Royals to Rogers Centre Friday night. Toronto remains 4 games up on the Yankees atop the American League East after the Yankees kept pace, edging Tampa Bay 5-4 in 11 innings last night. From the Canadian Press, I'm Karen Rebo.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.